last December, I had an opportunity to retire from my job that I had been doing for the last 26 years. So it's been a big change. I went from being a manager with the Department of Defense, the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, and having a lot of folks that worked for me and a lot of responsibility with funds and merchandise and all sorts of things, and a lot of travel, to not doing that anymore. And that's been a real change, but it's been a real blessing. So basically, for the last 30 years, I've maybe been able to see my mom and my dad when he was alive once or twice a year. And, you know, I just really felt like God gives us a limited amount of time and a limited amount of money, and He does that because He loves us, because we would just mess it all up if we had unlimited of both. And I know that for a fact. And so I looked at how I wanted to spend the time and the money, and really honestly, the money that I gave up to be able to do this was not going to benefit me or anybody else nearly what the time does. Everything kind of boils down to life is an investment, and you're either investing time or money, because those are the two resources that God gives you. And so you get to choose how you invest those. He tells us with money, you know, this is the first 10%, and then, you know, if you're wise, you'll save 10% at least, and then you live off the rest. And time's kind of that way too.
What are some of the things that you see about your mom now that you didn't notice before?
You know, it's kind of funny because I see my mom, I see her so young now. And that's kind of weird since she's 90. But, you know, I can see her heart a lot. And I guess a lot of things that have kind of been coming out, because one of the projects we've been working on is taking all of the family photos for the last 90 plus years and trying to scan them in and get them organized. As I look at those, I look at all the things that she did during the years since my birth and before my birth, where, you know, she made conscious decisions all the way along the line as to who she was going to serve and what she was going to do. And it was just like, wow, you know, she loved us so much.
Yeah.
Again, she did not work until I was about 9. She worked for 1 year only. And that was kind of short-lived because, frankly, nobody wanted her away. Nobody wanted her to leave us. And nothing that she could bring home from that salary was worth her leaving the house.
Sure.
It just wasn't. And but, you know, I look at her and I think, you know, she invested in each of us so that we would be able to have a really full and productive life. I've always tried to kind of live in the moment, to capture the moment. It's always been really important to me to have times when you can just forget everything that's around you and spend with that person.
Sure.
You know, I talked a little bit before about life and the investment of money and time, but those are the resources. But the actual, what is life for me, is relationship.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, I'm anxious to really be able to feel like at the end of the day that I was able to maximize those relationships. I was able to really enjoy those. And, you know, when I was learning how to be a single parent, and people used to go, oh, you know, be sure and spend quality time. Well, you know, what I really learned was there is no such thing as quality time. There's time. And I think that love is spelled time.
Sure.
Because that's how you get to know a person, how they get to know you, and hopefully how you can have time to be sure that they know the Lord. I think that the Israel trip
That's
are a
really
huge
good.
investment. I definitely think that's an investment. I think that kind of goes in two categories, and money often goes in two categories too.
Yeah.
But that's it's definitely God time, but it's also an investment, and it's an investment in, well, selfishly in myself, and then it's an investment in my vision. It's an investment in me being able to see beyond our borders, beyond what I can see here, and an investment in my reality of what God sees. Because God does not see the world through my eyes. I need to see the world through His eyes. And so that part's an investment personally. It's an investment also in the lives of the folks that we're going to be with, not just at the House of Hope, but prayerfully the folks that God brings in our path. This will be the first Friday after Thanksgiving in more than 26 years that I haven't been on my way to work at 3 a.m. in the morning. And so, yeah, there's a lot less stress. And there's, I guess more than anything, there's the time to be able to do what I think God has for me to do in this season. I'm not saying that it wasn't until now that I could do what He wanted me to do, because
Sure.
that's not the case.
Sure.
Actually, the case is quite the opposite. It doesn't really matter what the season is. The priority and the looking for what the priorities of that moment are just as important. And the challenges are different. It used to be I was challenged with, how in the world am I going to have enough time to do all these different things? And now the challenge is, how am I going to be disciplined enough to do all the things that I know I need to be doing and the things I would like to do? And I've become a manager in a different sense, a manager of having more of a resource than less. And kind of the money factor is kind of interesting. I really never had any money when I was working and earning 40% more, and that didn't change.
It's all the same.
It's all the same.